Welcome to this video. Where do we come from and how? Haplogroup R Romeo is a Y-DNA group that dominates Western Europe, 60 to 100%, and is amongst the most widespread groups of the world. The oldest R Romeo group is the R1A group, and it has no presence in Africa. The youngest R Romeo group, R1B group, as found in the rest of the world, is not present in Africa. This puts the out of Africa hypothesis in doubt. Simply because Western Europe and much of the world is dominated by a group that has no presence in Africa, neither its root has. The for Africa unique R1B V88 group, that only has a very limited extent and frequency in Western Africa, did not spread to any part of the world. Out of America's South Atlantic route. Its limited presence only occurs on the route parting from the most important, out of the Americas, entry, arriving in Africa, using the South Atlantic Gyre, or the Guinea Current, Tyros, Brazil, and West Africa terminals. In fact, crossings that part from the west coast of Brazil and South America will drop off a raft or boat at this West Africa entry, with no way to go, unless with active navigation and some form of propelling. It is pretty much like a terminal between the Americas and Africa, and back to Brazil, limited to beneath Tyros, Rio Grande do Norte, where by the way the American continent was discovered around the year 1500. Any further movement or passing of West Africa will throw back to the east coast of Brazil, South America, and will take place automatically by the currents. This raised the possibility that the little bit of R Romeo in Africa is not African. The route of the European R1A Romeo 1 Alpha and R1B Romeo 1 Bravo lies in the Americas, mainly in North America. This is a clear indication for the out of the Americas hypothesis. Further, there is much less presence of the route of R Romeo in Western Australia and Indonesia. Although not very strong, this is an indication for more than one route into Eurasia and Africa, and at the same time for more than one route out of the Americas. The most important route out of the Americas goes to the east. Pacific out of Americas to the west. And the least important route out of the Americas goes to the west. We are only discussing haplogroup R Romeo, although this is also true for other haplogroups, including QM 242, Queen Mike 242. Most probably Neanderthal and Denisovan, and even H. erectus, did these same routes long before them. There are several officially registered modern-time successful crossings from South America to Indonesia, Southeast Asia and Asia. With sail, rowing, solo and even raft drifting only. None of these crossings had to do with survival, only with succeeding in a challenge. In the mtDNA haplogroup frequency world map you can see plenty of South American mtDNA in Oceania, Asia and Eurasia. In fact, west of the Americas dominantly the most obvious is mtDNA B Bravo, because it presents itself in a dominant way on the west coast of South, North and Central America. Although it is not suggested in most maps, simply because consensus radically supports out of Africa. Those that support Asia to the Americas as part of out of Africa depend on Beringia as the location of crossover, while there was no ice bridge at the time the group R Romeo would be supposed to cross to the Americas. When considering boats as part of out of Africa, this also is not an option, because in the Pacific strong currents east to west heavily compromise easy or safe crossing from Asia to the Americas. For me, crossing Beringia is nearly impossible if not by boat, especially for all of the haplogroup R Romeo, because there is no ice bridge when they cross, but mostly because most of the crossing of Asia from Ub and Yenisei deltas and North America is through immense areas under permafrost, and without help from rivers, not even a reasonable covering by frozen ones. Out of America's North Atlantic route. Earlier in this video an indication of an Arctic route from the Americas to Eurasia, etc. was presented. This however does not exclude a North Atlantic route to Eurasia, etc. This all is an indication of an Pacific, Oceania, route to Asia, etc., Australia, Southeast Asia. Australian endurance rower Michelle Lee became the first woman to row solo across the Pacific Ocean. The 50-year-old spent 237 days rowing unassisted from the coast of Ensenada in Mexico to far north Queensland, more than 14,000 kilometers. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. This is the end of this video. Thanks for watching.